Hey there, fellow soil enthusiasts. Welcome back to Soilsage Chronicles. If you've been following along on our gardening journey, you know I'm passionate about proving that you don't need acres of land to grow incredible food and beautiful plants. Today, we're diving deep into container gardening. And trust me, after years of experimenting with pots, planters, and everything in between, I've discovered some absolute game changers that will transform your balcony, patio, or windowsill into a thriving garden paradise. Whether you're a complete beginner wondering if you can really grow tomatoes in a pot, spoiler alert, you absolutely can, or a seasoned gardener looking to maximize your small space, this guide will give you the confidence and knowledge to create your own container garden success story. Let's start with the stars of any productive container garden: vegetables that not only thrive in pots, but often perform better than their ground-planted cousins. Tomatoes are the crown jewel of container gardening, and I can't tell you how many people are amazed when they see my cherry tomato plants cascading from hanging baskets. Choose determinate varieties like Patio Princess or Tiny Tim for smaller containers, or go bold with indeterminate cherry varieties in larger pots. The key is using at least a 20-gallon container for full-size plants and providing sturdy support. I've found that tomatoes in containers actually have fewer pest issues and are easier to monitor for diseases. Peppers are incredibly rewarding container plants that, honestly, many gardeners just overlook. Both sweet and hot varieties adapt beautifully to pot life. I particularly love growing ornamental peppers that serve double duty. They're gorgeous to look at, and wow, they pack some serious heat in the kitchen. A 5-gallon container is perfect for most pepper varieties, and they actually prefer the slight root restriction that containers provide. Lettuce and leafy greens are really where container gardening shines, especially for beginners. These fast-growing crops give you that instant gratification we all crave. I grow lettuce year-round using succession planting, starting new seeds every 2 weeks in different containers. Spinach, arugula, and Asian greens like bok choy are equally successful, and honestly, they add some incredible diversity to your harvest. Radishes might seem a little too simple, but they're just perfect for teaching the fundamentals of container gardening. They're ready in just 30 days, and their compact size means you can grow them in surprisingly small containers. Plus, both the roots and leaves are edible. The greens make a fantastic pesto. Bush beans are honestly phenomenal in containers and produce surprisingly well in relatively small spaces. Unlike pole beans, they don't need trellising, which makes them just perfect for beginners. I grow them in window boxes and harvest these tender baby beans that seriously taste nothing like the store-bought versions. Carrots work beautifully in deep containers, and this is really where you can have a lot of fun with different varieties. Try round Parisian carrots in shorter pots, or go for those rainbow varieties that kids absolutely love. The key here is choosing containers at least 12 inches deep and using a loose, well-draining potting mix. Container herb gardening is where you'll actually see the most immediate impact on your daily life. Having fresh herbs just steps away from your kitchen, well, it changes everything about how you cook. Basil is the herb that, honestly, converts most people to container gardening. It's almost impossible to fail with basil, and wow, the aroma alone makes it worth growing. I keep multiple varieties going: classic Genovese for pesto, Thai basil for stir-fries, and purple basil because, well, it's absolutely stunning. Rosemary is a woody herb that actually prefers the drainage that containers provide. In colder climates, you can just move the pot indoors during winter. I use rosemary constantly in roasted vegetables and meat dishes, and there's really something magical about harvesting your own sprigs. Thyme is another Mediterranean herb that thrives in containers. It's incredibly drought-tolerant once established, and it provides that earthy flavor that just elevates simple dishes. I grow both common thyme and lemon thyme for variety. Cilantro can be tricky in traditional gardens because it bolts quickly in heat, but in containers, you have more control. I keep mine in partial shade during summer, and honestly, I can harvest fresh cilantro for months. Mint is actually better in containers because it's incredibly invasive in ground gardens. I grow several varieties: spearmint for mojitos, chocolate mint for desserts, and peppermint for tea. Just remember, mint loves moisture more than most herbs. Chives are virtually foolproof and provide that perfect onion flavor for eggs, soups, and salads. They also produce beautiful purple flowers that are edible and attract beneficial insects. Oregano and parsley round out the essential herb collection. Both are incredibly productive in containers and provide that fresh flavor that makes homemade dishes taste restaurant quality. Don't underestimate the power of flowers in your container garden. They attract pollinators, provide cut flowers for your home, and honestly, many are edible additions to salads and drinks. Marigolds are the workhorses of container flower gardening. They're incredibly easy to grow, bloom continuously, and actually help repel some garden pests. I plant them throughout my vegetable containers as companion plants. Nasturtiums are both beautiful and delicious. The leaves have a peppery taste and the flowers are gorgeous in salads. They're also natural pest deterrents and will cascade beautifully from hanging baskets. Sunflowers might surprise you, but dwarf varieties like teddy bear are perfect for containers and provide that cheerful presence that, just makes any space feel more alive. Kids especially love watching them grow. Zinnias are cut-and-come-again flowers that provide continuous blooms for indoor arrangements. They're heat-tolerant and come in incredible color variations. Petunias offer that cottage garden charm and bloom prolifically in containers. They're particularly beautiful in hanging baskets where they can trail and create stunning displays. The foundation of successful container gardening lies in understanding a few key principles that I've learned through years of trial and error. Container selection matters more than most people realize. Bigger is almost always better. Plants in larger containers are more forgiving, require less frequent watering, and generally produce better harvests. I recommend starting with containers that hold at least 5 gallons for most vegetables and herbs. Drainage is absolutely critical. Every container must have drainage holes, and I always add a layer of gravel or broken pottery at the bottom to prevent soil from washing out while ensuring excess water can escape. Soil quality makes or breaks your container garden. Never use garden soil in containers. It compacts and doesn't drain properly. Instead, invest in high-quality potting mix designed for containers. I mix my own using equal parts peat moss, vermiculite, and compost, but good commercial mixes work wonderfully too. Watering becomes your most important daily task. Container plants dry out much faster than ground plants, especially during hot weather. I water my containers every morning, checking soil moisture with my finger. If the top inch is dry, it's time to water deeply until water runs from the drainage holes. Container gardening opens up a world of possibilities regardless of your space limitations. I've seen incredible gardens on apartment balconies, fire escapes, and tiny patios that produce more food and beauty than many traditional gardens. The plants I've shared with you today represent years of testing and refinement. They're chosen not just because they grow well in containers, but because they provide real value, whether that's fresh food for your table, herbs that transform your cooking, or flowers that feed your soul and attract beneficial wildlife. Start small, experiment with what excites you most, and don't be afraid to try new varieties. Container gardening is forgiving, and every season teaches you something new about working with plants in this unique environment. Remember, the best garden is the one you actually tend and enjoy. Choose plants that you're excited to grow and harvest, and your container garden will become a source of daily joy and accomplishment. If this guide has inspired you to start or expand your container gardening journey, I'd love to hear about your successes and challenges. Drop a comment below sharing which plants you're most excited to try, subscribe to Soilsage Chronicles for more practical gardening wisdom, and share this guide with fellow gardeners who might be ready to discover the magic of growing big harvests in small spaces. Happy gardening, and remember, every expert was once a beginner.